Hello everyone, here we meet again in video 2 for Unit 4 Planning. In this particular video, we will try to understand the basic features of planning. As we all know, planning has certain specific characteristics or traits. Management decides for its future course of action on the basis of planning. Without planning, management cannot proceed ahead. Now, there have been several definitions of planning which helps us to identify certain specific characteristics of planning. Let us check what are these distinct traits or features of planning.
Planning is the primary function of management. It is in fact the very first function of management that enables the formulation of objectives and deciding a particular course of action. Without these objectives and course of action, other functions are meaningless because planning helps to decide the structure on the basis of which other functions stand. The second feature of planning states that it is an intellectual or mental process. Planning is basically a cognitive activity or a thinking activity. It is the human mind that carries out the activity of planning, thinking, thereby to arrive at a common consensus of laying down ways and means to achieve the organizational goal. The next feature states that planning is a continuous activity. Indeed, planning has to be a continuous process since new plans one after another are needed to be formulated and executed. Also, because only one plan is not sufficient for any organization to survive in a dynamic business environment. The next feature states that planning is a goal-oriented process. Without a goal, there can be no plans in existence. In fact, any marketing plan that we may adopt is actually intended to achieve the goal of maybe increasing sales or maybe covering a huge customer database. In fact, when you are also studying well, what exactly is your goal? You have a goal to achieve better marks or better scores or maybe to excel in the examination. Planning is required at all levels of management, in all departments, and planning is a continuous managerial function that involves the complex process of thinking, communicating, decision making, and taking up actions. Since it is performed by managers at different levels and in different capacities in the organization, it is quite appropriate to call it all-pervasive. Planning is also counted as a choice-making activity. This distinct feature of planning implies that planning is all about selecting the right course of action amongst several other alternatives. A particular manager in an organization has to choose between different alternatives to arrive at the best solution for the particular situation or condition in the organization. Planning is always time-bound. It may be for 1 month or a year or 10 years or even more. On the basis of time, it may be termed as short range, medium range, and long range planning. Without time limitation, plans are equivalent to zero plans. The next feature states that planning is based on forecasting. Forecasting is a technique of anticipating facts relating to the future. In fact, it is the process that helps in determining the future courses of action owing to the information and knowledge that is provided by forecasting. Planning is a dynamic process since it is all about adjustments and readjustments in relation to the changes that are anticipated in the environment. The plans should be so flexible that they do not become redundant and are always responsive to the ever changing market conditions. Another important feature of planning states that it is all about increasing efficiency in the organization. Planned actions are always better than the non planned ones. Planning, in fact, establishes a system which helps in doing the job smoothly and quickly with the minimum of loss or wastages. Now, let us look and understand what happens if we do not have a proper plan. Also, will you give up if your plan fails again and again? Now that we know the features of planning, let us check what are the characteristics of a good plan. The first characteristic of a good plan is being objective based. A plan which ignores or overlooks the objectives can never be a good plan. Simplicity is another quality of a good plan. A plan should be simple in the sense that the person who implements it understands it very well. A good plan should also be flexible. A rigid plan may sometimes hinder the implementation. The persons responsible for planning should also suggest alternative plans for smooth functioning. Coordination is the next essential characteristic of a good plan. Proper coordination should be maintained within the department and its individuals. Even among the different departments of the organization, coordination is highly necessary. Lack of coordination is likely to render the plan a failure. Another important characteristic of a good plan is efficiency and economy. A properly drawn out plan should suggest the right kind of machines to the workmen. A good plan also indicates the quality of raw materials to be used. If proper machine and raw materials have been provided, it is bound to increase the efficiency. Planning involves expenditure and should thus try to ensure that the benefits are more than the costs involved in the preparation. A good plan should also be comprehensive in nature. A list of all the activities of the organization should be made, no matter how big or small the activity could be. A good plan not only lays down the target of expected outcome of each department, but also of each sub-department and at an individual level. Now let us quickly take a look at the characteristic of a good plan. Number one, it is always objective based. Secondly, a good plan has to be simple and flexible as well. The third characteristic talks about coordination and comprehensiveness for a good plan. For a plan to qualify as a good one, it should lead to efficiency and economy in the organization. Finally, a good plan should be indicative of the targets for every department and individual in the organization. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe to the channel above.